Hi there, welcome to I Will Fly Tarot. I'm going to do a tarot card reading for Pisces energy. And again, we're going to do this 10 card spread. And we're going to look at it from a couple different perspectives because life's about learning lessons and kind of tempering your more shadowy nature of immaturity, pride, ego, defensiveness, self-centeredness, lust, greed, all those things, to be a more emotionally mature person. And some people haven't learned some of those lessons yet. Some people have, and we're all somewhere on the scale of having learned those lessons. And so people would harness this energy differently depending on kind of the lessons they've learned in life. We'll all kind of repeat certain patterns in life until we learn the lesson we were meant to learn from it. And so we could have repeated a pattern. We learned the lesson. We moved on. We could be living our life differently. But some people are still at that stage of life, even if they're the same age as you. But we all can see it between different age groups that, people are going through a phase of life. We had went through it one time and we accept the truth of it. It can be more challenging though when it is someone who is kind of more our age, and we kind of would have thought maybe they would have learned some of those lessons by now, and they haven't. So Pisces energy is emotional water sign energy about our hopes and our dreams. And some people kind of have illusions about what it means to be in a relationship, and they still got some lessons to learn. Other people gave up hope and faith and belief in love, and it's just about indulging themselves in relationships. So we all tap into Pisces energy, so this might be something particularly going on. The people who are a Pisces sun sign or have significant Pisces placements in their chart, it might be something they struggle with more than other people. But we all, because we're all affected by Pisces energy, and this might be something that Pisces energy at the big picture is kind of going through. So I view this as the overarching reason for the reading, which is the Eight of Pentacles, which is Virgo energy, which is kind of interesting because Virgo and Pisces are on opposite sides of the zodiac wheel. And I think we kind of go off on these journeys in life to learn these lessons and, oh my gosh, I love them. And we kind of drive our life off into the ditch, or, oh my gosh, I'm defensive and fearful. And we reject a lot of things and we can kind of drive our life off into the ditch that way, or our lust or our greed or a more materialistic nature. And we're all trying to learn these lessons about getting more balance, kind of finding out how far is too far and kind of what we need to watch out for so we don't keep driving our life off into the ditch. And so some people right now could be more inspired with the Knight of Wands, which is Sagittarius, about higher learning and education. Some people haven't been illuminated to some truths that maybe some other people have. And so they're going on a journey, kind of repeating an old pattern. And maybe they're more aligned with their worldly nature because Pisces or Virgo energy is earth sign energy. And so, and I think for the first 30, 40 years of our life, we're pretty fired up about these things of the world and all these things we want to go indulge in and manifest because we really think that's the truth and what'll make us happy. And some people could be more caught up in their worldly nature. And some other people have already done that, been there, done that, and they did get more balance within themselves in the Six of Pentacles, in their philosophy of life of Taurus energy. That, yes, there was some things I used to be pretty fired up about and that I used to want to go make my life about. But again, it could have kind of driven my life off into the ditch. So I've gotten more balanced, maybe between my Pisces and my Virgo energy, that do I want some of these things of the world and stability and security? Yes. But do I also want more authentic, stable, grounded, loving, balanced relationships? Leo, Taurus, and Cancer? Yes. Well, if I want those things, I need to be in that energy. And sometimes some people were kind of under the illusion that if they just got in relationships with people who were more stable, grounded, authentic, and loving, they could just work with them. And some people still are thinking that. I can just go get in a relationship with someone who's like that, exchange resources with them, time, energy, effort, hide that I'm kind of more about maybe myself and the world or my ego or my image, and I'll just create the illusion I'm more stable and grounded and mature than I really am. But when we do that, eventually over time, the truth ends up getting illuminated. And for some people, they could be going through that right now. People can get in more mismatched relationships. Everybody could kind of have the best of intentions, some of them. But then as time goes by, it could have been fun. They could have enjoyed the relationship. Everybody, again, could have had the best of intentions. But then as time goes by, you kind of get more enlightened to kind of what drives and motivates people, and learn some more things. Both the Six of Pentacles and the Hierophant is Taurus energy. We all have our philosophy of life and how we view life, how we view ourselves, how we view others, how we view the world, how we view relationships, and all these things that we think are just and fair. And some people could think it's just and fair to be more immature in a relationship, and some other people could think, I don't want to be in relationships with people who are more immature. And sometimes we get caught up in things and we're excited to have these maybe new jobs or new relationships. And so we're kind of willing, hoping for the best, that maybe everybody would get more balanced and start, kind of listening to their intuition and maybe quit juggling and start to put in work and effort to, it's kind of like a phase of a relationship we go through. We get in a relationship, but then are we willing to move to the next step of the relationship, and move forward in it? And that can kind of be when one person is ready to move forward, some other people aren't. And the same thing can happen in a workplace, because Taurus energy can represent all these different institutions of the world, workplaces and organizations and all that. People can go get a new job somewhere. Everybody could kind of hope for the best. And, they're putting in work and effort to move things forward. But over time, it could be kind of illuminated that, you know, some people don't really do like equal give and take, could be kind of immature, might hide that they're more willing to be in the job or take the job more, maybe for the ego or the image or the status, but not really to put in work and effort to help work cooperatively with people to move things forward in what maybe other people would view as a more stable, grounded, balanced, loving way. High vibe energy wants to give birth to something new instead of repeating old patterns. And sometimes, you can hire people in a company and they keep thinking, well, no, this is like how it used to be at where I worked before. This is just how I live my life. And I want to do this. And the other people are like, yeah, but we want to give birth to something new. It's not to keep doing the same thing over and over. We kind of learn lessons about how things work and, what we want to do next. And then we all kind of work to move forward in that new way. And some people are like, but I don't want to do that. I just want to do this. And, so you kind of can get illuminated just like you can in friendships and relationships and workplaces. Who really seems to be more inspired to work with people cooperatively and kind of grow up and mature themselves and realize that everyone needs to put in work and effort and everyone needs to be being more, if it's a workplace, that when you're at work, you put work and effort into work, and hopefully you like your job and you take satisfaction in a job well done. and you kind of like to work with people who are like that. And some people, that's just not their truth. And same way in relationships, like, well, do I want to be in a relationship? Do I want to hang out and do these certain things? And it's works for me, it's good for me, but other people could maybe feel like, I think that's why you want to even work with us. It's not more about the ego or the image, right? Okay. So, but we do start out here with 3 cards not showing itself. And for some people that are in new situations, we don't really, we need to get to know people. The wands can be about getting to know people. The pentacles can talk about getting to know people, doing equal give and take with people, getting to know them more, trying to find out, what kind of drives them, motivates them, what their philosophy of life is, and if it all works out, then we kind of move forward in new jobs, new friendships and relationships. But when we initially could get in relationships or a new job, for the people that are going through that, some people already went through it and they're kind of on to the next stage of life. But when we initially get to know people, we don't really know. We tend to think that other people think like we think, and if certain things were to happen or go on, we kind of think they would handle things the way we would handle things. But sometimes we get in these more mismatched relationships, and some people harness this energy in a more high vibrational way, and other people don't know that. And other people can try to be more a little shadowy, and they don't realize that some people don't harness this energy in a more shadowy way. And then they're like, oh shit. And they might decide to go work with someone else because, like, no, if I'm more immature or I'm more about ego and image, or if whatever, I want to hang out with people who are more like that, or people who will indulge me in my more immature or stubborn ways of being, right? And then as some high vibe people kind of get to know people, they could find out and come to learn that some people harness these energies in a more shadowy way. And then those people are kind of illuminated to the truth, and they might decide not to invest much time and energy into those people, and it's all trying to, again, kind of wanting to be in a relationship with people who kind of view life the same way we do. What are those cards? The Seven of Swords, the Ten of Cups, and the Emperor. So, some people have already dealt with kind of more people who they would view as more, kind of more inspired by the world and ego and image. And they've learned to listen to their intuition about people who are like that, and people who are more like that. The high vibe people would kind of view them as maybe more caught up in things of the world and just more about their ego and image. And so they could kind of view them as more immature, maybe a little bit more transactional, like, well, I'll be your friend or I'll get in a relationship with you so long as it works for me and it's good for my ego and image. But I don't really want to be more authentic and really act with character and integrity. I'm not really motivated and inspired by love. I'm kind of more motivated by how it benefits me and how it looks in the world. And some high vibe people have already dealt with people who are like that. And they don't want to deal with people who harness all these energies in a more shadowy way. They're aligned with their more hopeful, believing nature in Pisces energy. And they've learned these lessons in life. High vibe emperors, where you've kind of learned the lessons, like, I let my heart run my life, I let my mind run my life, I let my worldly nature run my life, I let my passionate, creative, more immature nature run my life. And I've kind of learned all those lessons in life. And though I can go out in the world and I can be loving and encouraging and supportive to a lot of people, I am listening to my intuition about who I more want to spend my time with, and I'm not more caught up in the ego or the image. I'm looking for people who really are who they say they are, Because shadowy Pisces can be where people are trying to create an illusion about who they are. Like, you should want to be my friend. You should want to date me or marry me. I am this stable, grounded, victorious, successful person. But they're kind of immature. They're not as stable and grounded and emotionally mature and loving and act with character and integrity like they try to present themselves as being, but they could look and act and have a certain status or image or power or social clout in the world. And the high vibe people are making good decisions in their life. And they're getting to know people, they're communicating with people, working with people. But the high vibe people harness this energy in a high vibe way, and they're moving forward in a more emotionally balanced, stable way. High vibe Taurus, they're walking the talk. High vibe Leo, they're being authentic. They're kind of firing on all four cylinders because they have learned if I let 1, 2, or 3 aspects of myself kind of run my life, in tarot, we have the 4 suits of the deck, and I've learned that all 4 aspects are equally important. Before, I might have let my heart run my life, and the other 3 aspects of my life kind of went in the toilet. Not anymore. Now people have to be stable, grounded, authentic, loving, inspired, have learned these lessons about what it means to be in a relationship, that it does everybody taking responsibility within themselves to love themselves and maintain balance within themselves so they're not wanting to be in a more codependent relationship, that everybody is supposed to put in work and effort to work cooperatively, not like, well, how about you put in the work and effort and then I just kind of go off on my own and focus on what I want to focus on, and you put in the work and effort to make it stable and grounded and loving and balanced, and I just kind of get indulgent, and it's like, nope, not anymore. If you want to do that, you can go do that with someone else. So there might be some people, as people are moving forward in their life, that some more, again, people you could view as kind of more immature, egotistical, image status, try to maybe manipulate and control people. You could meet some of those people and you do equal give and take with them, just like I'm going to maintain balance within myself. I could see the truth that you are a certain type of person. That's fine. Can deal with all sorts of different people in the world. I just know that I'm not going to go back and forth about it. People who are more authentic, more just, more fair, act with character and integrity, are more authentic and loving, are. And people who aren't. And I'm not going to be going back in my head, kind of back and forth. From the 6 to the 8 is the 2 of Pentacles. I'm going to watch and observe as what the High Priestess can be. Get to know people over time to, not make snap judgments on people, because people can have a bad day or whatever. But over time, I am going to listen to my intuition about who are the people who do seem to be more kind of immature or stubborn or bossy or controlling or manipulative or full of themselves, and who are the people who have learned to temper their more worldly egoic nature and be more authentic and stable and grounded. And I'm going to go focus more of my attention on working with those people, even though if it's a job, I've got to work with everybody. But, I'm just not going to bother. I'm not going to chase after people. I can communicate people my truth that I'm willing to work with you. If it's to get to know people to see if they want to work together with you in a relationship. If the other people aren't working together with you, eventually, you see the truth. We've all dealt with that, where some people are like, we should hang out. And you're like, I'm not really feeling it, and we can do that with people and they're not really feeling it. And we just kind of don't get in our ego about it, even though we got to work through it. Just accept that everybody is where they're at. Other people could be in relationships. They could have different priorities in their life. Whatever, I'm going to just keep moving forward in my life. Wish people peace and love, and they have the free will to do what they want. Now, some more shadowy people might be hiding that they might try to present themselves as a more high vibe person and try to hide that they really could be maybe a little bit more about themselves or the world and ego and image because they think that's the key to being happy. And again, they harnessing a shadowy Aries energy could be where they want to look like the boss. They think they should be the boss. They think other people should want to be in a relationship with them. But Aries energy in general is about the self. And some people are still just more about themselves. And it's more Aquarius, also represented by the Star card. They might, in the Seven of Swords, not like to admit that they're kind of a little bit more about themselves. And with these cards not showing themselves, they could try to hide from people that they are kind of more about themselves. And the world kind of manipulates them, their ego, their fear, whatever. And they're not really just more authentic. Those people could be taking action towards other people. Other people could be taking action towards them. And if they know they like to deceive and manipulate people, if the people who communicate with them or that they communicate with seem more balanced and more inspired by truth and love, right now they might be kind of hiding that they're trying to get out of the relationship. Because if they can't kind of manipulate and control someone, they don't want to be in it. And there might be some people, if they are in a relationship, there could be some people that they think they could manipulate. Other people in their life don't know that they're thinking there's other people they can control and manipulate. And they could just be exchanging resources with someone. And I guess you could look at that as a job too. Like, why aren't people putting more work and effort into a job? Because they don't really want to. You know, I will put in the work and effort I think I need to put in so you won't fire me. But I am kind of thinking, you know, and I could have some illusions about myself and kind of be a little full of myself. But they might think there's other people, if another opportunity came along, they want to go pursue that. Because if the people they're working for or in relationship with require them to put in, you know, conduct themselves in a more balanced, responsible, just fair way, and that's really not the truth of who they are, and they kind of really like to be more where it's more about them, where they kind of get to indulge themselves more in a relationship or in a workplace. If there's some other opportunity that they think could come up, that could be why they're not really putting that much work and effort into the job, friendship, or relationship that they're currently in. You know, and the thing is, for people who are shadowy, that are more maybe materialistically motivated, like I want a new beginning that makes me have a certain status and image, so I look like I've moved on, that I look like they want to look like they harness high vibe Virgo energy, that I have learned these lessons in life. If I was more immature before and I acted in these certain ways, I want people to not view me that way, but they really haven't done the work within themselves to deal with the truth. Again, it's more, I have an idea. From my ego, I think I can create this illusion, and I'm going to try to get in a job or a relationship with someone to make it look like, no, I am this stable, grounded, emotionally balanced, loving, whatever type of person, right? But it's all just an illusion because they're the exact same person they were in the last job and the last relationship. Well, the whole thing is there's always bigger fish in the sea, right? And when we, just like there can be people who kind of try to prey on loving people. Oh, I think that person's a really loving person. They put a lot of work and effort to make a relationship work. If I can get them to get in a relationship with me, they'll put in all this work and effort to make a relationship work, and then I can kind of be slack or immature. Well, some of the people who are shadowy, they're always focused on trying to manipulate more loving people and kind of being a little full of themselves. But the whole thing is, when they're aligned with their shadow nature, they're aligned with, well, at the big picture, our shadow nature is represented by the devil. And the devil and our shadow nature doesn't want us to love and believe in ourselves. Our shadow nature loves it when we're more immature. Loves it when we decide the Six of Pentacles can be, instead of doing this, I'm going to do that. Our shadow nature loves it when we don't align with having hope and faith and belief in ourselves and acting with character and integrity and being inspired to put in work and effort. Like the devil tries to tell us, you should make your life about these things of the world. You'll be happy. Eat this, drink this, get in this relationship, make your life about money or power or status. You'll be happy. But the truth is, love is what really makes us happy. And being proud of ourselves is priceless, And not driving our life off into the ditch is more fun than driving our life off into the ditch, right? But we all got lessons to learn, and some people still have some lessons to learn. But the whole thing is, we have these different people in the world that we can align with. And some people have some loving and encouraging people in their life right now that they could have these new beginnings with if they were kind of willing to quit indulging their more immature nature, whatever that involves, maybe living more from their mind than their heart, being codependent on some other people, or indulging themselves, or being more about themselves, or their ego and image. They have people they could work with if they were willing to kind of listen to their higher self, quit kind of juggling the truth, and kind of be inspired to put in this work and effort to love and believe in themselves. But it does take work and effort. And some people, they don't, that's where they kind of deceive themselves. Well, I want those things, but I don't really want to have to put in the work and effort. And it kind of does require me, high vibe energy and high vibe Leo, is you have to temper your more immature, self-indulgent, egoic nature. I want what I want, and I don't want to have to put in the work and effort to get it. I want reward without effort. And some of those people are going to learn some hard lessons because they have loving and encouraging and supportive people in their life, but that would require them to put in work and effort and maybe reveal a truth and be more authentic or temper their ego. And they're not willing to do that. So then there's other people in the world that they can align with, but those can be other people who are more about themselves, their ego, their image, more deceptive, more manipulative, who really don't want them to grow to their full potential because they don't grow to their full potential. That's what high vibe energy is, where you go through life, you learn lessons, you shed an old layer of yourself, you kind of give birth to a new version of yourself because you work through your fears and your insecurities to love and believe in yourself, to believe you can go to that next level of life. And so they could have people in their life that they're aligning with that they're not seeing the truth of. We can all live in illusion and stay in denial of the truth, but there could be some people in their life that they view and could look up to, could admire, could be in their own family, could be their original family, it could be their friend group, it could be brothers, sisters, could be other employers in the world. And what they don't realize when we're not willing to grow up and mature ourselves and put in some work and effort to deal with the truth about maybe some ways of viewing life and ourselves and the world and relationships, if we're not moving forward, acting with more character and integrity and inspired by love, we're going to take the more difficult path, which is fine. We all have free will. There's a key on either side with the mirrors because we're going to learn lessons one way or the other because life is about learning these lessons. This hurts. This doesn't work out so well. This doesn't get us what we want. And it's all to try to get us back on the path because high vibe energy, the big picture represented by God, wants us not to be manipulated by our more immature nature, to realize, but we can do it and we can live our life like that all we want, all our life if we want. We have the free will. It's just that you won't have grown to your full potential. You won't, you kind of reap what you sow. What seeds you plant and what work and effort you put in. If you were to think of a garden, if you don't go out there and weed it, all the weeds are going to take over the garden and it can kind of choke out the plants that you're trying to grow. And for some people, they might be fine with that, where I'll just take what is there. I wasn't that big into it anyway, And so I get 5 tomatoes instead of 500. Well, other people kind of end up having more balanced, stable, warm, authentic, inspiring friendships and relationships and workplaces because that's the type of people they are and they plant those seeds. Other workplaces and relationships, those people can be more immature, don't want to see the truth. They can be more stubborn and prideful and bossy and controlling and egotistical, and that's the kind of workplace or relationship they have, where it might still function in the world and it can still in a lot of ways look victorious and successful, but they could have more people who don't want to move forward with them and keep moving forward with them than people who are inspired to keep putting in work and effort into other relationships or workplaces, right? And so what some of the shadowy people don't realize, there could be people that they view as people who want to put work and effort with them to move forward in a relationship, because that's the illusion they also create. But some of those people are also being deceptive. If you come work with me, you'll look like a boss. I have a certain status or image, or I will pay you more. You will have more than what you had if you chose this. And our shadowy nature, again, is kind of like instant gratification, And if some people are more motivated by money and materialism, or status or image, instead of working with the people they're working with, where they could have great victory and success and abundance in a lot of different ways, they kind of don't look at things from the bigger picture. High vibe Aquarius energy. They're just kind of caught up in, I want what I want now, and I really think this is like a good idea. Well, pride comes before the fall, and we've got to all go learn some hard lessons. And some of those people did already go try to invest in some of those things, and they're hiding that the people, they had been in relationships with people who were more high vibe, that they could have had their dreams come into reality, but instead they were deceived and manipulated by people who said they wanted to work together with them, that they were loving or something, and then those people weren't who they said they were. But some people still don't want to see the truth. They're still manipulated because they're really tempted by it. It's something they really want. And some people are in a new relationship right now where if someone else that they want to be in a relationship with, because they don't really want to have to act with character and integrity, if those people at some point in time were to get out of the relationship they were in, they would go get in a relationship with that person. Right now, they could be just kind of indulging themselves in a workplace or a relationship. I hate to get people paranoid about a relationship. You know, everybody's just got to listen to their intuition. If you're in relationships with people where everybody seems to have learned lessons in life, not more caught up in yourself, don't have illusions about that it should be more about you, and people are inspired to work together with you in a just and fair manner, and they're not juggling, you know, that's the people we want to move forward with. We've all been more immature. We've all learned those lessons. And so for some people, they have no interest in going back to that way of life. Can we be attracted to other people? Yeah, but they're like, they do this work within themselves. If I have loving and encouraging and supportive, authentic people in my life, why would I go indulge my more immature nature? And they work through that because that's something that's always there. Us being tempted to want to go indulge ourselves in some way can always kind of be something present. But I think the high vibe people get inspired to get back in balance within themselves, to listen to their intuition, to deal with the truth. And if they were to realize, you know, the reason I could be tempted is because if I feel there's something wrong with this relationship. So some people who are more inspired to put in work and effort and inspired by love could find themselves in a more mismatched relationship. And the people they're in relationship with harness this energy in a more shadowy way. And that's why they could even be tempted. And so then they could put in this work and effort to get to the truth about how are we going to move forward in this relationship, and trying to figure out if they feel like it's more mismatched, why do you want to stay in it? You know, is it just because, again, more of the status or the image or the stability or the security? You know, we would, well, I don't want to say that. I can say it, but I'll clarify it. You know, we all can be tempted, and some people are more immature than others, and they don't have good self-discipline. So it doesn't matter what kind of relationship they're in. If they have an opportunity and if they think they can hide the truth and deceive and manipulate people, well, they're going to go do it because that's the kind of person they are. There's other people, though, where we can all move forward in something, and then as time goes by, we could kind of learn more about each other and what kind of drives and motivates us and why we want to keep moving forward in the relationship. And we could feel it is for different reasons. And, you know, it's hard to work through those things and, you know, why we're kind of tempted to want to go do something different. But I think initially high vibe people work within themselves to figure out, I don't want to take more reckless, impulsive action. You know, I like to view myself as this other type of person. And so I am going to act with character and integrity. And I'm maybe going to do this work within myself to work through any issues within myself so I don't take more immature action. And get more balance within myself from love, and I have made a commitment to this. And then they try to work with the people they're in relationship with to inspire them, to work together with them to move forward in this more high vibrational way. And then that's when sometimes the people we're in relationship with don't want to move forward with us anymore. And so it kind of does end up illuminating a problem in the relationship, but we didn't know what the problem was. But instead of taking action in a way that we wouldn't be proud of, high vibe people did this work within themselves, get more balance, be focused more on truth and love, and being loving and inspiring and authentic. They've kind of grown up and healed and matured themselves during the course of that, and they're maybe feeling more stable and grounded and confident within themselves. This row is a knight. These two are kind of like minor arcana, and doing this work kind of gets people in more mature energies with major arcana cards. This is a minor arcana, but it still indicates that you're now firing more on all four cylinders, or maybe before it was more motivated by being in a relationship, putting in this work and effort in these things of the world, and really kind of doing that work within yourself. That if we are going to work on this, I want us all firing on all four cylinders. We could have viewed the people we were in a relationship as someone that we looked up to and admired, that we viewed as someone who would be more immature and reckless, and maybe we seem like the more immature, reckless person. And then we wanted to feel proud of ourselves, so we did this work to kind of get us firing on all four cylinders. And we could think that the people in our life would be proud of us, and then that's when they're like, nope, I'm leaving. It's like, oh, so you weren't really who you said you were. And then when you kind of do this work within yourself to not just be in this energy, but you've kind of went to the next phase of life and you're kind of ready for the relationship to go that next phase of life, that's when they're like, shit, when did you do that work within yourself? I liked you when you were in this energy, and I might not want to move forward in a relationship where it even moves forward. If they seem like the more stable, grounded, emotionally balanced one, they like that. And they liked you maybe seeming like the more immature person who had to put in this work and effort to get to their level. But then once you get to their level, in a sense, well, then they don't like that kind of relationship dynamic, because then you both would move forward as a more balanced relationship where everybody is being more authentic and acting with character and integrity and love. And that's when you could realize some of the people you were in a relationship with weren't really who they said they were, or a little full of themselves. Like, I like to be in a more imbalanced relationship where I seem like the more stable, grounded, I don't know, victorious or successful or mature person. And I like getting in relationships with people who are kind of viewed as being more immature, and maybe could have been more immature. And then as they kind of maybe grow and mature themselves in the relationship, it's kind of more out of their ego. Like, it's because I'm this loving, stable, grounded person that this person has done this work within themselves. But the kicker is they don't want to do any of that same work within themselves for then the relationship to move forward. Like, if people do that work within themselves to kind of be more stable and grounded and balanced, like in a way they might be more stable or grounded or balanced or appear that way, they don't really want to move forward in that type of energy. And that's when you kind of realize that some people were hiding that they like to be the boss and they like a more imbalanced relationship. I view the sevens as tipping kind of in one direction or the other. And that's when you became illuminated to the truth that some people liked you maybe being more up in your head or more codependent. And then that's confusing to realize that people aren't who you thought they were. And you have to do this work within yourself to keep maintaining balance within yourself and not slip into some poor past patterns of your own. And love yourself, believe in yourself, give yourself the things that you wish other people would have given you. And then you communicate with other people in the world. Hey, I'm moving forward in this way. Who wants to move forward with me in this way? And some people won't, and some people will. Some people in your life are happy that, that this whole process helped you love and believe in yourself. And the same thing could happen where you're at a job where people create the illusion that there's these opportunities, and then, as you're putting in work and effort to try to bring that dream into reality, I don't know, they really don't plan to want to give you that responsibility or whatever, because shadowy energy can be kind of more competitive energy, and they kind of like being more the boss. So they, again, might present themselves as having the best interest, but they're kind of immature and kind of more about themselves, and they can kind of do more immature things because they always like the attention more to be about them, and oh, how the company couldn't survive without them. And, then you got to hope that other people kind of see the truth, and that, you know, encourage you to keep kind of ignore that person to the best of your ability and just keep focusing on your stuff. What's coming up for people who harness some high vibe Pisces? They've probably been offering love and encouragement to some people to work together with them. They could be confused about why some people are doing what they're doing, and because again, people can act one way, say certain things, but it's still feeling like they're hiding the truth. And that can be where you kind of feel like, I think somebody's being deceptive and manipulative, and they could be using my loving nature to try to manipulate me. And that's sometimes when we just got to sit back and observe to deal with the truth of the situation. And sometimes if people are doing things that try to trigger us into getting into our ego, it's like, you know what? I'm just going to keep maintaining balance within myself. I'm going to live my truth. I'm going to act with character and integrity. If they want to go do certain things that I don't want to go do, I will tell them, you go ahead, you go do what you want to do, or act the way you want to act. And I'm just going to sit back and kind of observe to try to get a feel more of kind of what drives and motivates them. And some people might want to talk to people to get to know them, to get more clear about what drives and motivates them. Some people could be talking to some people that they think are more deceptive and manipulative to get clear about the truth of, where is this going? Are you moving forward with us, or are you not? Other people might talk to people who they think their intuition tells them are people that they really could kind of more work with and have their dreams come into reality, to get to know them better, to see what really kind of more drives and motivates them. And it can be kind of this sifting and sorting of who's who. What's coming up for the high vibe people that they might not see coming? The King of Wands, the Ace of Cups, and the Three of Pentacles. Why? Because of the Ten of Pentacles. Well, the high vibe people are doing this work within themselves to close out a cycle. There's some people in your life that there could be a part of you And you could have communicated with some people, but there still could be a part of you that, we can kind of move away in the Eight of Pentacles, put in work and effort to kind of move away from certain people in our life. But there could be a part of us that wishes that things would work out, right? But as we keep seeing that they keep doing what they're doing and we're kind of doing what we're doing, you know, you wanted to close out a cycle and deal with the truth. So you did this work within yourself and you were inspired out of love for yourself to free yourself from an old foundation. Because if people aren't working together with you cooperatively, in my more immature nature, I might still want to be in a relationship with them. A King of Wands would be more mature than a Knight of Wands. I have learned these lessons in life. I want to close out my more Knight of Wands energy. I am more inspired by love and working together with people cooperatively, and I also view high vibe Three of Pentacles in Capricorn as freeing yourself from some more immature ways of being, some more toxic or codependent ways of being, because shadowy Capricorn is represented by the devil. So I'm inspired to love myself and free myself from what I feel are more immature, materialistic, egoic, codependent type, or abusive even relationships. And because you were inspired to do that, and some other people might not be inspired to do that, I think you did for yourself, and you're going to have this new beginning. Because you put in work and effort from love of self, and so you get to go have this new beginning. When you have learned the lesson you were meant to learn from this past phase of life, you've learned the lesson. You don't want to repeat that past pattern. You did the work to love and believe in yourself, to free yourself from it, and now you get to move forward in life differently. And you're aligned with major arcana, divine energy is what you're aligned with: hope, faith, belief, and love, instead of fear and insecurity and pride and ego and lust and greed. So in your foundation, you now are more aligned with your creative, inspired, intuitive nature. And that's the energy you're working with and moving forward with. And you're looking very stable and abundant within yourself, standing up for yourself. Could be looking energetically, and maybe personally, looking kind of very attractive to other people, just because your energy isn't sad or dejected or codependent. You give off a certain energy when you view life a certain way and live life a certain way authentically. And I think because of that, there's going to be other people in workplaces, friendship, family dynamics that are inspired by you. Some people are inspired by you. Some people could be intimidated by you. But other people do want to work together with you because you've been illuminated to some of the same truths that they've been illuminated to. And when other people have went on this journey ahead of us, they're kind of waiting for other people who've learned some of these lessons to get out of certain jobs, friendships, and relationships, looking for other people to come up the road of life who are on the same page as them. And just like as you move forward, you're staying in this energy, waiting for people who your intuition tells you, as you get to know people, who are the people that are more on this way of living life, and who are the people that are still kind of repeating some old pattern, trying to either caught up in the world or trying to deceive and manipulate people. And I think people will view you. The Chariot talks about victorious, moving forward victoriously because you're maintaining balance within yourself from love. Could have new beginnings in relationships, workplaces, friendships, marriages that look very stable and abundant and balanced and victorious. What's coming up for people? And sometimes you can have, if some of you are already in relationships or marriages or jobs, some other people could have tried to be more immature, to try to manipulate people and cause some problems in a workplace or relationship. But because of the truth of who you are, other people are going to stand up and defend you, and the immature people are going to have to go find someone else to try to manipulate. What's coming up for the more shadowy people that they don't see coming? The Queen of Wands. Why? Because of the King of Wands. Well, because more shadowy people, the masculine card, so here we have the King of Wands, here we have the King of Wands, but we can harness our Aries energy different, and this is Aries energy. And Aries, again, talks about the self and the foundation we operate from. Some people are inspired by truth and love and character and integrity. Other people are kind of more inspired by themselves and their ego and their image and looking victorious and successful in the world. But they kind of use their emotional nature and their charm and their looks and their sexuality and all those things to try to manipulate people to get them to do what they want. And what they don't see coming is they could do something again. You know, we can have people in our life, and you could be someone, you know, we can indulge people in the world for quite a long time because we kind of have hope and faith and belief that maybe they'll grow up or whatever. But there does come a time, you know, I'm kind of viewing the sun as Judgment Day. And there can come a time when people do something again that's kind of immature, trying to hide that they're kind of more about themselves and indulging themselves, wanting to be indulged, wanting to be more maybe the center of attention, trying to manipulate people in a relationship to maybe chase after them. And, you know, people could have in the past. But there can come a time where people are like, that's it, I'm done. No more going back and forth. I could have been juggling, having hope and faith that people would grow up and mature themselves. But when it keeps happening over after over, you know, eventually it's like, I can't stay in denial of the truth. They harness this energy in a more shadowy way, shadowy Aries and Leo, being more inspired by themselves, by the world, by indulgence, to be the center of attention, competitive energy, prideful energy, manipulative energy, codependent energy. And they have people in their life that harness it in a more high vibe way. And eventually the more high vibe people say, you can go do what you want to do. You can move forward in this energy with someone else. And I don't want to move forward with you in this way. I am going to maybe go think about what my dreams are and what I think would make me happy. And I need to make some different decisions in my life because apparently the decisions I did make there was something not right about it that I didn't want to maybe see the truth of. And now I'm going to go take the time. And Virgo energy can talk about taking time alone to work through those things, to get to the truth and do this work within myself. And if I think You know, and the more high vibe people in their life keep seeing them repeat an old pattern, and it's like, I'm done exchanging resources with you. I'm going to deal with the truth, and I'm going to put work and effort within myself to love myself so I can move away from you. And you can go do this and repeat this pattern with someone else, but I've had enough. And you know, people who've been able to get away with being shadowy in some regard, uh, they could be surprised, because it's always surprising when people who you didn't think would be more inspired to stand up for themselves and love and believe in themselves do. Because again, they know that some people love them, want to be in a relationship with them, could be attracted to them if it's that type of relationship, have always been like loving and encouraging people who kind of kept letting them get away with shit. And eventually the people are like, we're moving on. And could be communicating with people from the 1 wand to the 4 of wands. We're letting go of a 3 of wands, which could be that we thought a dream was going to come into reality with someone, and now we see that dream isn't ever going to come into reality with that person because it's not their truth. They don't want to put in work and effort to work together more cooperatively. They want us to indulge them, and we're not going to keep indulging them. So odds are the people who don't want to deal with the truth, who don't want to put in more work and effort, temper their ego to, or just want to be an immature player and don't want to be in a more formal commitment, and they're in relationships with people who do want to be in more formal commitments or move the relationship to the next level, they're going to go repeat an old pattern, try to confuse people about the truth about why they didn't move forward with those people, and could be a little full of themselves that I think there's just other people I can get in a relationship with who want to get in a relationship with me, and I'll just repeat this pattern all over with someone else. But what they don't see coming is there might be people in the world that have more experience than them, and they're also more shadowy, and they know these people are more immature and codependent and ego and image and materialistic. And because these people, because a king and a queen would have more status, image, maturity, shine brighter than a knight of wands, they know they can use what they have to manipulate someone like this to get in a relationship with them and stay in a relationship with them. And what some of these people don't realize, they're going to get in a relationship with someone who will present themselves as, I'm this emotionally mature, stable, grounded, loving person. You will be able to indulge in a relationship with me. I'm just so naive and gullible. But they don't realize that this person knows this game better than they know it. And because these people are so much more motivated by the ego and the image or the money or the status, they will get in a relationship with someone who knows that. They will get in a relationship with that person, and on one hand, it could be a just and fair relationship because they could have thought they were going to deceive someone, and someone's like, oh no, I know exactly what you're doing, and I'm on board. I'm willing to be in a relationship with you for these reasons. But because someone isn't immature, isn't being deceived, you know, in a way, it's kind of like the games are over. The Two of Pentacles, no more playing games, because they're in a relationship with someone who knows the truth, and that person might be kind of quite controlling of them, because I know you like to be more immature and deceptive and manipulative, but you can't pull one over on me. And shadowy Aries can be that I will be more controlling of you in this relationship to make you kind of toe the line. If you want these things and I have these things, then this person now might have to be the person who has to indulge someone in a relationship. And they might be hiding, they really don't want to be in this relationship, that they could think they'd be happier not being in the relationship, but because of decisions they've made and kind of what drives and motivates them, they are going to move forward and keep moving forward in a relationship that by worldly standards looks very maybe victorious and successful. It's just more about trying to create the illusion, being deceptive that it's love, but it's not love. And I think other people can see the truth that it's not more about love, it's lust and passion for these things of the world that it gets them. And other people are in relationships with people who they authentically love. And that's kind of the difference of what you can manifest in the world. So there you go, Pisces. I wish you peace, love, and joy, and we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.